Good day and welcome to the Automotive Society Podcast. My name is Siraj and today I'm joined by our co-host Alex.
We're back.
We're back.
Man, it's been a while, hey.
It has. 2 months to be exact, actually.
Has it actually been 2 months?
Pretty sure 2 months yesterday, yeah. Or at least the day of
No
recording.
way.
Yeah, 2 months exactly. Yeah, but we're back now. I feel like we've done this before where we said we're back last time. And
yes, yeah. I do remember this.
We do take hiatus. I don't know the plural of that is.
Say that again.
No, thank you. We did go on a hiatus again, but we have valid reasons, lots of valid reasons, okay? Last time we shot a podcast was in June, start of June, and
I remember actually now. Literally, we shot the podcast and I was going to Adelaide and Melbourne like 2 days after.
Yeah. So, as soon as the last episode went live, Alex was already on his way to Adelaide. He went there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you got back and then you got sick.
I got sick for a week. Not COVID, which is weird. I haven't had it yet.
And then that happened. And then, my family came over and we lost our podcast studio. And we'll get onto that in a short bit. And then I feel like we're making excuses here, but
they're not excuses.
I'm just trying to explain why the hiatus.
What's with this?
Trying to compact all the information into one little ball. One little ball for you to digest, people. My partner got COVID and then I got COVID. So that was another 2 weeks we were out.
Yeah. Then I've been flat out with work. But you can see we have a bit different backdrop as well.
Everything's a bit different.
So to add to that, this has been 2 weeks of 3 weeks worth of
work.
Relocating.
We haven't finished yet.
No.
And we're already ready to relocate again. But yeah, as you can see, we got a new podcast studio. This one is actually a studio, not a fake studio. Although we will then move back to my home office to a fake makeshift studio, which will hopefully sound better than this anyway. I'm sure you can hear a little bit of echo, but
all I want you to imagine behind the camera to either side and behind is perfection.
Perfection.
It's absolute perfection.
There is no bits of tape falling off the wall over there. That you do not know that. No.
The sound deadening definitely hasn't fallen off the wall.
Yeah.
And sitting on that couch.
Sitting on the ground or on a couch. Where it has collapsed and we haven't picked it up.
There's 35-year-old curtains behind there. They're perfect though.
I think they're from the 70s, late 70s, I'd say. So
they got
a modern touch, Yeah.
They're probably ready for historic.
That's
retro.
how old the house was, and I'm pretty sure they've been there since the start of this house. So they're quite old.
Works well.
Yeah, they do. You won't get to see this, unfortunately. Maybe we'll take a photo one day.
You know what?
Before we take this podcast studio down, we might tell you guys all the...
There'll be some snaps. We'll put some on Insta, on story, so they're not staying there.
I'm sure you can see a little Ferrari Speedo all the way over there in the very corner. We got our two posters because, the rest of the posters couldn't be bothered to move. So anyway, and we're back and we're talking about cars.
Yeah, finally, right?
That's it. Everything to do with cars, motorbikes, and a little bit of go-karting. That's us.
It's so random, isn't it? With the random lives, eh?
Yep. But we're back. What have I done? What have we done during this time, Alex? You've driven a few cars. I've driven a few cars.
You know what? I've driven quite a few cars in the last month and a half.
Yeah, and while you were in Adelaide, I was driving your BMW every day.
How do you... you know what? Honest opinions.
Okay.
What did you think of the mighty 135i?
The mighty 135i. One thing I was surprised by was it is a lot quicker than I expected.
What do you mean? What did you expect?
I expected heavy and slow. It was a lot quicker. The turbo was very not linear. I'm going to guess that's because of your tune.
Yeah, of course.
It was very, very aggressive.
Below 3,000, there is nothing.
Yeah, and then once it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
Like you lose traction even in the dry once it hits. If you're on full throttle boost,
it's fun.
The rear end just kicks out for no reason whatsoever. He's got good tires. Everything's good. It's just how it is. It's aggressive. You get like nothing and then everything, which feels like a 30-year-old Jap car with a aftermarket turbo, but no, that's factory turbo.
It's hectic.
On a newer BMW. So I kind of like that. It had character. Yeah, exactly. I definitely felt emotions and personality from the car.
I felt emotions from the car.
From the inside. They were burbling up.
You can see how rusty we are as well. We're like bubbling up, like all slow with it.
Oh, no, that's how it was. That was the good time frame. The pacing was correct.
Wait, so where did you drive it?
Where did I drive it? I drove it to work, so that was like an hour and a half one way.
Yeah.
So pretty far. Stop traffic. I drove it in. I drove it on a fun cruise. I took it to a car meet.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me.
Yeah. I took it to quite a few places, and I would say it was very comfortable, very easy to drive. It didn't feel like a standard manual car because you have, hill assist, you have anti-stall. So if you just let off the clutch, it will catch revs and not stall. Which was, it's like creature comforts for me.
I'm surprised you're impressed by this, to be honest with you.
I mean, I get that it's tech and it's a European car and they use technology, like latest technology, which is fairly good. But it was never a point where normally driving manual gets mundane in start-stop traffic. I didn't feel that. Like even in start-stop traffic, I could take it easy because it has the hill start assist or...
Yeah, it's pretty forgiving.
Like you can easily take off the brake, relax and, do the whole pedal dance. Whereas... in any of my cars, if it's a hill, like you got to do that quick. Like you got to do a quick pedal dance. You got to get on the throttle, unless you use a handbrake, which my MX-5 doesn't have one.
Weak people use the handbrake.
Yeah, which I don't anyway. So, and only one of my cars actually has a handbrake that works. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. Yeah, definitely felt a lot more comfortable than you would expect from any other car. Now, onto the bad bits.
There's nothing bad about it.
I've got a long list here in my head. It's been a while. It was a month and a half
ago. You never
ago
told me about these.
A month and a half ago I drove. Yeah, but now weird quirks, okay? Firstly, your freaking chair. What is up with that, bro? There is 700 adjustments. You can do each panel on the lumbar support for some random reason. This little thing that sits in front of your crotch, it moves forwards and backwards. You have your up, down, forward, back, and
diagonal as well.
And then there's diagonal. Yeah. So like you can lean forward or lean back. I don't really want to think about where I put my butt. Like it took me, I think, 2 days of messing with it to finally get to an adjustment where I was like, I'm 80% comfortable. I never found the 100% comfortable.
But you've got the sides as well, the bolsters that come in.
Yeah.
Did you find that button?
I put them away. I was like, I don't want this. I want to live in comfort. I don't want this. A lot of the things I was just trying to get comfortable, but at no point was I 100% comfortable.
Dude, it's brilliant.
I think it was like 80% comfort was the max I achieved, and that was after 2 days of messing with every single setting. I assure you right now, Alex over here does not live in comfort. You have not adjusted it to your peak. I can assure you're not that comfortable.
My seating at the moment, I've saved it. It's perfect.
No way.
It's perfect.
Do you get a sore back after a little bit? You shouldn't. That shouldn't happen. See, that's not a thing.
I'll be honest.
You are not sitting in 100% comfort. I've driven that many cars, and sometimes a car takes longer to get used to. I get that, yeah. But your car is impossible to get used to.
For 3 hours when we drove to the track day, right? I had my lumbar support out and my back started hurting. So I put the lumbar away completely. Yeah. And then I didn't really have an issue.
But you see, you have to keep messing with it all the time. On a long drive, you have to keep messing with it. It's just...
No.
It shouldn't be a
not
thing.
Anymore. When you got it, you got it.
On an old car, or even new, Jap cars don't have 500 adjustments. You sit in, you go forward so your foot is, perfectly. You notice press the clutch, you don't bend the knee all the way. That's about it. You go up till you can see over the steering wheel. You're comfortable. It's all good. And you're done. And you know what? You hit 100% comfort. You achieve that. Yeah, you'll get fatigue.
I'm not massively fighting on this because even I can say there is probably one too many adjustments on that seat.
Yeah, 100%. You reach 100% comfort in any Japanese car and some European cars that don't have a gazillion fucking things. And once you reach that comfort, you're fine. That's it. 2 adjustments and you're done. And you're like, but comfortable.
One thing, you know how we always say cars are exciting because you have to push them to the limit or find how they work or drive them a bit differently, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My car's got 2 characters. Not only is it the car, but it's the chair as well. Okay. And when you get the chair right.
What don't I want?
When you get the chair right, I'm telling you,
my chair. Unless your chair.
Bro, it's amazing.
Unless your chair has massaging function in it, okay? It's not that great.
If you hold the buttons, like back and forth.
That's another thing.
I've tried it.
That's another thing. Back and forth.
What?
Your chair broke. I did back and forth so much because I was trying to find the perfect adjustment. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
It stopped responding to me. I was pressing the buttons and it wouldn't do anything.
Because you're pissing it off. Just leave it.
Why? Just move that little bit and I'll be comfortable. And it was like, nah. Just wouldn't move.
Okay, you know what? I'll half agree with you on that one.
Annoying. Okay. Secondly, steering wheel, I liked it. I felt it was good.
It's nice. It's nice and chunky. It's got good grip.
I don't normally like chunky steering wheels, but I think I got used to yours pretty quickly.
Yeah.
BMW variable power steering. What is up with that? I hate it.
What is wrong with it?
I hate it.
Why?
It's like, I don't know. I don't want to predict. It should be second nature for me to like, if I turn my steering wheel this much, this is how much I turn. But with this BMW steering wheel, you turn it this much, you turn one way. You turn that extra bit and boom, it's like the ratio is completely different. Now you're turning across 17 lanes. You're facing the wrong way and you're
Hold on.
what is happening?
Can I just say, did you just daily drive it to work or did you pull across 17 lanes?
I tried to daily drive it to work, but every time I parked, I was just at the wrong angle because I was like, I don't get this. Why does it need to adjust?
Do you know the one thing is, I found it really weird when I first got that car to have that.
Yeah.
But because it is my car and I daily it, it's such a good system.
Okay.
It works really well.
I agree with you. Okay, now I'm going to go on to the second point. Yeah. Everyone who has a second car, your car cannot be a second car or a first car. If you own more than one car, you cannot have a 135i. The amount of things that you just have to live with and get used to. You go in another car.
I can't wait to hear this.
You go in another car and then you go back to the BMW and you're like, oh my God, it's all off again. I'm not used to this again. It's just whack. It's just whack. It's so different. I don't get it. Even power delivery, like it is so different to most cars that I've driven.
Yeah.
The weight of it, like you can feel that it's heavy.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with the M, I guess we call them M Lights, so M Sports and things like that.
Yeah.
They're definitely not like your M3 or M2 style suspension.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They are a bit wallowy.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it definitely had body roll for sure. Another thing I would like to say now that we're 13 minutes into this podcast and we're talking about this car, what car is it, Alex? I don't think we have told people what car it is in this episode, at least, if they've just seen us.
What, BMW 135i?
Yeah, what year?
2010.
Okay, it's got an N54 twin
turbo, stage 2.
Stage 2 MHG.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other mods?
Not really.
Just tires?
Oh, well, upgraded slotted rotors and stuff like that. Very basic.
Braking was good. I was very impressed with the braking on your car. I have heard, you said that it fades on the track. But
that's probably more down to do with the pads though than anything else.
I think it's more down to do with the fluid because
could be fluid.
I think your fluid boiled over like on the track, and I think that's why you had an issue.
But I mean, they're big calipers. I mean, they're 6-pot.
Yeah.
Like,
I definitely
huge. For the car
do not argue with the braking capability of that car. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think your car was good. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I'll take a 7 from him. I'll take a 7.5. Yeah. That's not bad.
I did not go into it like, yuck, BMW. I tried to be an open mind, okay? I found the good things and the bad things. Some of the interior trims, man, they're thick and they're really in your face. There's so much.
Like what?
What
do you mean?
Like the door thing.
Why are you saying it like this?
And the door
Why would you explain
like
it?
You're hefty.
I don't know what
door.
you've been doing, but the way you just, they've got big things right in front of you.
Yeah,
what
right.
is this?
Like sometimes you want it, but sometimes you don't. And in the BMW, I don't know, I just didn't think it was appropriate to have big things in my face all the time.
What? I'm intrigued. What was big? I'm intrigued about this.
Like the interior trims, the way they are, it's just massive. And
it's a more modern car now.
Yeah, I guess so. Makes sense. I'm not gonna say it's a good point or a bad point. It just feels like you're cramped more than you need to be.
I think the one, I get where you're going, but I think the one best thing about that car, and I'm really happy with it because I never really knew when I bought it. I think I only just discovered it when I drove it, but it's a decently fun like weekend car just to get about in, right?
Yeah.
But when you actually get up to like an 80 or 100 zone and you just put it in six gear and you just relax, you don't have to change gear. You barely hear the engine. There's heaps of sound like insulation.
Yeah.
It just shuts itself off.
It's pretty good. Like that's what you want
God, yeah. For me,
when I wanted it to be slow and nice, it was slow and nice. When I wanted it to be fast, it was too fast.
yeah, but there is only one way or the other. There is no.
Yeah, there's no in between.
no in
If you were
between.
like, I want to do a little bit of performance driving, that's not a thing. Your turbo will kick in and you'll just be like, oh my God, what's happening? So it's either go bonkers or go slow.
I like it. It works for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Until the next one.
Until the next one. Okay. Now, you're still looking at a new car. We've talked about this.
Yeah, this will be for another episode, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, we've already spoken about your decision making or lack thereof.
Go back and watch. I can't even remember what episode it was now.
Pretty sure it was the last episode.
It was pretty much a 45-minute argument.
Yeah. It's just lack thereof. Yeah, really. Your decision making just doesn't exist. It's all over the joint.
It's all over the place. And when I find it, I'll find it.
If like ADHD could be defined, it would be Alex trying to buy a car.
With car choices, yeah, 100%. Every week I'm going back to him going, what do you think of this? What about this?
You look at Alex's so we have an app called Car Sales where you scroll through endless amounts of cars that are up for sale in Australia, and Alex's saved car list is like completely different things. You'll have sedans, you'll have hatches, you'll have front wheel drives, all wheel drives, rear wheel drives. Some will be fast, some will be slow, some will be practical, some won't.
You missed one. I saved a Land Rover Discovery 4 as well. Just it's a good daily.
Yeah, SUVs as well. Yeah, like Alex's mind, you can tell by his car sales saved list where it's like, oh, today I want something that's comfortable. Today I want something that's impractical like a Lotus. Today I want something that...
It changes weekly.
Yeah, and
seriously.
Like to the other end of the spectrum. It doesn't go like, I like two-door hatches, and then I like all these two-door hatches. No, it's two-door hatch, or it's like a Mercedes Shooting Star, or like a Land Rover Discovery, and then he's back to a Lotus, and you're like, what is going on?
Great minds are always moving.
Sure. I feel like you can't keep up with it at this point.
No, I can't. That's the problem. I can't decide anymore.
Yeah. On other news, whatever else have I driven? I drove a WRX STI 2017.
Well, tell me, what do you think?
Yesterday.
I'm intrigued by this because I'll be honest, when I was looking at the next car, it didn't massively excite me, like that modern sort of STI, but yeah. I'm really intrigued by one.
Okay, so we spoke about this off camera a little bit. So I will try and reiterate the main points. And I'm going to say, when I first got in it, firstly, this car was a little bit modified. So it has some preventative mods like...
Wait, this is a manual though, right?
Yeah, manual. Yeah. Some oil cooler, few bits here and there. It's decently modded and also very nice trim package. So it's got the leather seats. It's everything's like super comfortable. It's got all the features, like no blank buttons, basically. Yeah. Which is what you want, which is great. Driving it at first, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty tame." It's pretty loud. It's got a loud catback system on it. I think like an X-Force or something. I'm not sure. And
sound on those are not great in my opinion.
Outside, yeah, I don't like.
They sound good engine noise wise. Just out the back, they don't sound that good.
Yeah, but like, when you're driving it, when you're inside the car, it's quite satisfying to hear the engine and the way that it burbles and pops. Like, it's not over the top in any way, shape, or form. It is quite, like, every input you give, you can hear it, and I kind of like that. It gives me a reassurance that I'm driving the car, I'm in control, like, whatever I do.
It's all, like, it's not electric power steering and stuff, is it?
I do not know 100%. I think it might actually be electric steering. I don't know about that. Although it does feel all right. Like at no point was I like, this is too electric or too mechanical. It was a good mix. But the way I went into this car was I knew it was a new car. I know it's made as a family car with a tiny bit of performance in it.
Yeah, it's pretty practical.
It's a cruiser, right? Yeah. It's not meant to be a race car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like a race car at all.
So compared to your Evo?
Compared to my Evo, it's very tame, very dailyable.
Yeah.
Did not feel like a race car at all. Whereas my Evo, I feel like from factory just has like a lot of oomph in it. And,
feels sharper or?
Like it has Recaro seats. The inputs of the steering wheel, for example, on the Evo are like very like sharp and direct. like you would be around a circuit. Whereas the STR was a little bit wallowy compared to that.
Okay, okay.
And there was
a bit more dailyable, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit more body roll, but in no shape or form was it bad. I think it was probably what the Evo should be, a little bit more comfort oriented.
Yeah.
And I think I liked that. It was really good. I think for like a Jap car that sounds nice and looks nice, I think it's a pretty decent car. It does its job perfectly. Like it's the perfect amount of sport performance and the perfect amount of comfort and daily ability. At first I drove it, I found it really slow. I was like, it feels like an NA, like you can't hear or see the boost in any way. The pedal has like a little bit of lag. So like the transient throttle is set to very like, very mellow. So you can punch it and it will slowly like accelerate.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's good. That's what you want.
But it's got the sports modes and...
Yeah. So then I turned the traction control off. It actually has a track mode. I don't know what the track mode does. So I want to do some research and actually find out what the track mode does. I skipped past track mode. I turned off traction control or stability control completely. I was like, I just want to feel it raw. I turned it into sport mode where you can see, it tells you there's a boost graph, like a power delivery graph. And I made it as steep as possible so I could feel the boost. And oh my God, it changes the car so much.
Really?
Suddenly I was like, oh my God, I feel like it's like a tamer version of my Evo, but just with like boost dial down, not like any other tame. Like everything else felt very similar. You punch the exhaust and it like, vroom, like it's up there. It's very responsive.
And they still make good power. Like they're what, 220 odd kilowatts, aren't they?
Something along those lines, and all-wheel drive and a decent amount of torque. So sport mode, traction control off, amazing. Like it felt so good. I could downshift finally without having that throttle lag. The throttle input was just direct, even though it's got drive-by-wire.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really liked it. I think it was awesome. So if you really want to turn it into performance mode, it's just a flick of the button and you're there, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get on the other side of this twisty, windy mountain road and you turn it back and you're in everyday daily ability thing.
All right, we're going to go drive one of them.
Yeah. The only thing I wish it had was like a exhaust valve so I could turn it down when I go to the daily
Sum this
ability.
up. 3 pros of that car.
Amazing comfort. Yeah. Amazing performance. Even though it wasn't over the top for the street, I was like, this is amazing fun.
Yeah.
And this is more of the chassis. Great aftermarket support from modability. Like you can mod
and
anything.
3 cons.
3 cons. I'd probably go with too much body roll.
Yeah.
It feels heavy, which I don't
like
think
you can feel the weight shifting.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
only
car.
1350 kilos. Like it shouldn't feel that heavy, but it feels heavier than it is. It feels a bit boaty.
Yeah.
So suspension, I think, needs a little bit more, or at least some sort of button for that.
Yeah.
And also the sound, I feel like it needs an exhaust valve from factory. Like I know you can put aftermarket in, but I think from factory it deserves to be rumbly or quiet.
One or the
depending
other.
on the mode
Yeah.
that you're in. If you're in Sport Plus, it should be rumbly. If you're not, then it should be quiet.
Yeah.
Other than that, amazing. Like I think the interior was amazing. The steering wheel was super nice. All the buttons on the steering wheel were... I hate buttons on steering wheels usually because...
No, but they're very simplistic. They've only
normally
got
touchy.
like 4 buttons or 6 buttons.
No, they have so many. Actually has so many buttons, so much functionality. Like you can change anything on the screens with the buttons, which is...
Well, on your wheel.
On your wheel, but they don't get in the way. Whereas I think your car buttons do get in the way sometimes.
See, that's interesting. My car, I think I never ever get near any of the buttons because mine is sit really far into the wheel.
Yeah. Which is really like I didn't have a problem with yours.
Yeah.
But normally European cars or Nissans.
Oh yeah, they have them all the way to the edge.
The new Nissans
buttons.
that they just try to be extra, right? Like the Jeep that I have, the Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
I hit those buttons while like turning and stuff all the time, and I hate them. Hate them. The only thing the Jeep does is the volume and the forward and backward for songs. The buttons are at the back, like paddle shifters.
See, I find that really weird.
I love that. You'd never hit
What
those
do you
buttons.
mean
You
love
never
it?
see them.
I literally said to you, the Renault Megane that I was looking at like a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
I was like, it's on a stalk, and all you have to do is flick fingers like that to change song or answer calls.
See, I've
and
never,
you're like,
I've
feel
never
like it's a
experienced
waste
that.
of space.
I've never experienced that. I do think a stalk is too much in my face.
No, it's not like a stalk. It's just like a little prong with a little, I don't know what you call them.
Can you see it from the front?
From the front of the steering wheel? Like maybe just.
Oh, yeah, that shouldn't happen.
What do you mean shouldn't have? What's
Where
wrong with that?
the
Who
Jeep
taught you
buttons-
car design?
The Jeep buttons are at the back. No, that shouldn't happen. I should just see my steering wheel, my display, and that's it. I shouldn't have random stalks. Mercedes
got a lot of stalks.
it's too many stalks.
Yeah.
Or they go the complete opposite route where they have no stalks.
Well, it's
Like-
interesting because they've got the gear shifter on one side,
Yeah.
and then the other side they got wipers and indicator.
Yeah. And
no,
headlights.
they got wipers on one and then indicator on the other.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then they've got the
headlights,
headlight. Yeah.
There's a knob on the other
So
side.
there's two on the left hand side. It's really confusing.
Yeah. Do not like a Mercedes. Too many stalks. Toyota does it.
Are we aging?
I think so.
Is that the reason we're talking about too many stalks behind a steering?
Well, I don't want that many things sticking out of my
No,
steering
I don't
wheel.
either. That's the thing.
Toyota, your cruise control, I can see it. I know what it does. I don't like where it's placed. I love how easy it is to use.
You're talking about that weird little stalk down the bottom, right?
half the stalk. It's like half the stalk for cruise control. I don't like the look of it. I wish it was just a little bit up and hidden behind the spoke. You know what it does, okay? Once
So
you
if
get
you
used to
think
it,
he might have some OCD with car design, please message us on our Instagram account.
yeah, I know the electrical functions are great. Creature comforts, we love them. I love them, right? Just incorporated them into the car, not in my face.
You mean instead of like making it look like an add-on almost,
Just-
like a last minute? Because that's the thing about Toyota for me, right? Everything sort of
I
looks
don't
in
think
play.
it's last minute. I think it's great
But-
engineering, but I just would like it to be integrated in a way that it's not like a whole different stalk for that one thing, right?
Yeah, it's
if
just
you put
more
a button
integrate.
on the dash away from my peripheral, like while I'm driving, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine, right? And Toyota does. Toyota has like all the Land Cruisers have the DPF
Yeah, the clear button or whatever.
buttons and all the other random diff locks and stuff over there, and that's fine. That's perfectly good. They can even get away with the second gear shifter with the neutral and the four-wheel drive and the two-wheel drive and all that. I think it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but they get away with it. And I think it's cool.
Yeah, they make it work.
When you go like neutral and then two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, you feel cool. Like it's like a cool little shift.
It's a manly
motion, right?
It's a manly-
I'm not
yeah,
like
yeah,
a little,
yeah.
ooh, button. No. I love buttons.
Hold on. just to track this back. Doesn't the Jeep have a button?
For the diff lock and stuff?
Yeah.
It's a button in the middle.
So you do the button.
It's not very satisfying though. I do
you
understand.
want to store. You want to.
I do feel that.
What's this motion called? I don't know why I keep doing it, but
Just slam the lever. I
yeah,
don't
just
know.
want to just put
You know,
it
like
in there.
you're
you know?
just launching some nukes, like
Yeah,
bam,
bang, and it's done.
It's cool. It's awesome. It doesn't look the prettiest, but it makes you feel really cool. So I love it. I love it. All down for it.
So
New
just-
cars don't do that anymore. The
No.
new cars all have buttons and LED flashes that like bing bing, and then like my screen goes bing bing, 4-wheel drive, and you're like, cool.
You know what I really find funny actually these days? Like I've test driven some weird things over the last like month and a half, but I took out a Nissan X-Trail.
That is very random.
Very random, right? I was just moving it for a colleague of mine and I just drove it 2 minutes down the road.
Okay.
But it's got like a four-wheel, I don't think it has diff locks, but it's got like a four-wheel drive setting or mode or something, right?
Okay.
The thing I find really funny these days is back in the day, if you're going off-roading, right, you have four-wheel drive low, high, whatever, then you just drive the freaking car. Okay? That's it.
Yep.
And you might have a diff lock or something. This car has like 17 different modes or 9 different modes on it, like comfort, sport, and I don't know why you need sport in a DCT gearbox anyways. And it's running through all these sections. And then it moves to like cactus, all right? So obviously most of us are like, well, it's sand or something, right?
Yeah.
So essentially the cactus looks like you're in the Middle East.
Okay.
Like it's Middle East is what it looks like. And then it's got falling rocks. I'm sorry, but falling rocks, like what does that mean? Like it doesn't have rocks like with a car driving over it.
Does
It's
it
just
mean
got
like gravel?
literally, no, it's got like rocks falling off a cliff.
If you're in an avalanche,
Like how does this help me? Like, so you've
rock
pretty
slide.
got the Middle East special. You're getting crushed by rocks, right?
Yeah.
Or I think the other one was like, it was something like weird muddy water. Like it doesn't look like mud. I know it's mud, but it's like weird wavy muddy water. It just
That's
literally
so
looks like
random.
cars sinking.
I'm sure it's like fully detailed in the owner's manual.
I'm sure, but why do I want a Middle Eastern? I'm in an avalanche.
85% of the people don't read the owner's manual. I like those little icons to be very simple, very straightforward.
I know there's a pet
just
peeve
put
of
words
mine,
there, like the Jeep, just words, man.
Yeah.
The Jeep like simply has words.
Yeah,
It's
snow,
like
sand.
snow. And I'm like, I love that.
So that was one of the cars I drove. To add to that, I test drove. Well, I say new. It was a 2019 M4 competition.
Wow.
I was blown away. Oh my God.
How?
It is like, I want one. I want one bad. They're just amazing.
I think it's just unless modified, very old man car.
Well, it's complete.
Like unless you get like the lip and the.
Well, it's got the full carbon pack.
Okay.
So it's got I don't think the side skirt. So it's got the carbon front lip, the carbon spoiler.
Okay.
It's got the carbon roof.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's probably got too many modes in it: Sport, M1, M2,
That's cool,
all these different
fair
pluses
enough.
and stuff. I took it from up near where we live, like Mount Colah, Asquith area. And I took it around the back streets there in comfort mode. It was very nice. Weird because it doesn't have a park on the stalk.
What?
No, it's got reverse, neutral, and D.
How do you park? You press a button
No,
on top.
there's no button. You like put it in D, turn the car off, and then it automatically applies the handbrake.
What?
That's what I mean. It's really weird.
Okay, that's funky.
Unless there's a button I'm missing, that is
funky. I'm a mechanic, okay?
There is no handbrake.
What if you put it in neutral and turn it off? It stays in neutral.
No. If you turn it off in neutral, it puts the handbrake on.
But I don't want that.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Like
just what it does.
if I put a car on a hoist, I normally put it in neutral, no handbrake, nothing, so I can roll the car backwards or forward to adjust on the hoist and take it up.
There's obviously some setting that you can like put into it.
It's going to be like a BMW special, like plug it into the OBD port and then blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. But can I just say,
have that too?
As like driving through the back streets, right? I had it in like comfort, and the interesting thing is you can tell that the gearbox was a manual and they've made it like a DCT. I don't know if they're DCT in those. They're a single clutch, I think, from memory. But when you pull away,
dual clutch, I don't know.
When you pull away, you're putting your foot on the accelerator. You're hearing the revs move up. 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. Then the car slowly pulls away. So you can really feel like a clutch is almost manually slowly pulling itself out.
Okay.
Right. And anyways, around the back streets, pretty comfortable, a bit firm, which is probably expected.
I expect that.
But overall, it was really good. And then I had it in what the owner actually has it as M1, because there's M1 and M2 buttons on the steering wheel. So you program them to have comfort suspension or race this or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So M1 was like a full-blown Sport plus everything.
Yep.
Absolutely everything. And the ride is shattering. Like I could not drive that in Sport Plus daily. It's
of
so
course.
firm.
You're not meant to though. Yeah.
But anyways, I turned it back to the M2 setting that he's got there. He's got a Sport Plus on the engine, comfort in the steering, comfort in the suspension, and with the gearbox, I think in Sport as well.
Okay.
Had it in manual mode. I will honestly say one of the best driving experience I've ever had.
Really?
It is. Everything is crisp.
Is it like the M2?
Everything
Does it have that little track mode thing in the middle?
Track mode?
Yeah, the M2 has this like little plug in the middle. That's
no.
Track mode.
No.
And it's got like a massive warning on it, like warning, this is for track only, do not use on road.
I think that's the M2 comp.
And it's like
that one.
Yeah, M2 comp, and it's like warranty will be void
if
you pull this on the street. And obviously they have GPS and all the sensors to know that you are on the street in track mode and you shouldn't be.
But that car, like I'll be honest, I would probably get bored after a year or two because I think it just feels a bit too clinical for me. Exciting. It is exciting. If I was to give you the keys and you took it for a round trip, for a day or something, you come back loving it. I think if you lived with it for 6 months, I think it would get to a point where you just sort of said like, it's fun, it's exciting, but I think I just need, how do I say it? There's no fault. There's just nothing I can like.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's a BMW. I think
it's just really.
It's gonna keep you on your toes at some point. I reckon.
I think it will.
Maybe not in the first year.
There is a hell of a lot of tech.
Maybe
in that
like
thing.
2 to 3 years. Like it will light up that dash with some sort of warning light, and it will keep you on your toes.
And then welcome to my life.
And then you're gonna want to have an upgrade to the next one anyway, and that's
and you'll buy another M4. You'll buy another M2 or something. But overall, like I will give that a solid like 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
For sure.
I would have expected higher. I would have expected the M4 comp to be really nice.
I think the one thing that I can take away from it is I think an M4, if you're a bit older, which let's be honest, like most people buying an M4 are not 25, 30. They are more 40, 45, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Because they've got money.
affordability. Yeah.
I think if you're in that age, I think an M4 is a no-brainer. Like it just makes sense to go into. Because I have driven an M2, not a comp, standard M2. And that was quite firm. Again, it's a bit stripped back in terms of the interior, but that's what I would buy personally. An M2 is like a 9.5, 10 out of 10.
They're all meant to be very performance oriented anyway.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So like I understand why they'll be a little bit more firm than your standard BMW, for example. Like even your BMW.
Oh, not comparing it to standard, but I mean just comparing it to like some other things out there, like your equivalent C63, C43s.
If you've ever been in like a Audi RS3 or an S3,
I've
like
been
they
RS3,
are like back-breakingly like stiff.
Yeah.
Your Scirocco,
That
the
was
Golf,
so hard.
the Golf R, like they're way more stiff than you expect them to be.
It's just interesting because I went in there expecting that comfort mode in that M4 was going to be similar, if not a little bit better than a Golf R.
Okay.
Just because it has more complicated suspension. It's got more of this settings technology.
I expect that.
So I was still expecting it to be firm, just not as firm as it was. Like I think you could go to a dealership and buy a Golf R that would be probably just as comfortable in sport mode as it is on an M4.
Yeah.
And I know that's not what you're paying for. I know in an M4 you're paying for that extra.
I think you definitely
second.
feel it more now too. Like Sydney roads are really terrible at the moment. Like
they've definitely got worse.
the last 2 years, Sydney roads have declined so badly.
I think, put it this way, to sum that up, absolutely amazing car. I think I would probably, if I had took it for a different, like more of a mountain drive, on a Sunday drive or something, up the old pack or something like that, I think it'd be a little bit higher.
I think it'd be the other way around. I think I would not enjoy it as much on a windy, twisty road. I would enjoy it more in daily traffic because I think it's comfortable and performance when you want it.
Yeah.
But I think for the twisty road, it is not made to be the ultimate pinnacle,
No, it's not. But one thing I can
around
say...
a track, I can.
One thing I can say about that car is, when we used to buy, we were 17, 18, right?
Yeah.
You'd buy a Skyline or you buy a Supra or you buy whatever. And you buy it with coilovers, then you do the bushings, then you know how you tighten everything up suspension-wise?
Yep.
And you remember when you finish with that, yes, it's a rock-hard car, but you remember if you went into a corner and you turned your wheel just that little bit much, you'd feel it straight away, the car's turning in.
Yep.
And you've spent how much? Like $3,000 worth of, $2,000 of suspension,
$1,000
worth of strut braces, all of this sort of stuff to achieve that.
Yep.
That car is already there.
Yep.
It literally feels like I was 17 again, put coilovers in.
Yeah, I do understand.
It's
I went passenger
so sharp.
in the M2 comp on the track day
I remember.
that we had. And I definitely felt that, but I feel like it does need more refining for the driver because the driver that took me out was very aggressive and the car did not like that. Like it would spin out. It spun out quite a few times. He was just too aggressive.
You mean like too hard on the turn-ins? And
Yeah. He actually got body roll out of it, which I would have thought would be not very likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of an M2 comp in track mode. Like he had the whole thing in track mode and it was still wallowy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if it's his driving or this car's just not tailored for his
style.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I was very much excited at the start and then I kind of got bored of it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's just another BMW. Like
just another quick BMW, yeah.
Just another quick BMW. Like they're all somewhat performance oriented. Like, okay, so this is how I think of the three big German cars, yeah? Audi and Volkswagen, I'm going to go under one umbrella. Sorry. BMW, like more sporty than comfort.
Yeah.
Performance-y, yeah. Mercedes, way more comfort than performance.
Yeah.
Audi, the perfect balance.
It is the perfect balance
Between comfort and performance.
I just have an issue with their four-wheel drive systems.
It's not good at either, but it's not bad at either.
I think just for me, like Audi, like I'm not going to talk RS4, RS5 because I haven't driven them. But when I talk
very understeery.
S3, RS3, like RS3 is probably in a different class of its own, but even just your standard like S3, S1, which is what I've driven, they were very understeery. And maybe it just
they're
means
all understeering.
maybe you just have to get higher up the range, like to like a something more higher end. I don't know, but I just found them a bit numb.
Even RS6, unless you like kick it and power slide it, it will be understeering.
Yeah.
They're all under RS4s, RS5s. They're
And
all
that's the
understeering.
only reason that I'm not running to buy an Audi.
And there is not, okay, I say this for Australia, there is not much aftermarket suspension bits for Audis as there is for BMWs and
you have to go
stuff.
to Germany and import.
Even Mercedes is really hard to get here.
It's difficult.
You definitely have to go from
It's
Europe
interesting actually because
or America.
I was looking up sort of BM parts, and there's quite a few sort of BMW parts here in Australia.
Yeah, because they are performance oriented. So no matter where you are in the world, you will get some performance suspension bits for BMW.
Yeah, but the thing I found weird is
like Porsche.
Yeah, like BMW, I found pretty common, generally speaking, between Australia, US, UK, Germany, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
The one that I was interested by is Mercedes. In the US, there is a massive market for aftermarket tuning for Mercedes. It's huge.
Europe and America for Mercedes, for sure.
Huge. I was just blown away.
Audi is purely Europe.
Yeah.
Like purely Germany, basically, and London.
But the other thing is, I was just going to say...
Porsche's everywhere.
You can't freaking find an RS4. Nobody is selling them. There is barely any. And
I think that's a good thing, though. Like
all the ones for sale are the old ones. Like
people have bought them, love them, and they don't want to sell them. Yeah, and they've kept them.
So there's obviously a reason that people have kept them.
And the only time they get rid of them is when they upgrade to a different Audi. So it goes back to an Audi dealership and goes in for like a trade, right? I definitely do see why people love them. If I was to buy one, I'd definitely keep it as a second practical family car. It is not performance oriented. It is not fun. It does not give me, as you call, the zhuzh.
The zhuzh. You know what? We need to get a poster done saying
the zhuzh.
Yeah, the zhuzh.
Yeah, no Audi gives me the zhuzh. Every Audi it's very clinical. It's very like, this is sterilized dentist office. You know?
Yeah.
And 5 minutes in, you're like, yeah, that was fun. It was kind of necessary, but I don't need to be in there. It's not exhilarating.
Yeah.
It's a bit dead, but they do it perfectly. Porsche. Porsche, on the other hand, there's ups and downs, man. Like they get really boring or they get really fun. But even then, they do eventually have the Audi.
The Audiness, the vagness.
The clinical, yeah. Like you're like, this is too perfect. Like,
so it's interesting you bring up Porsche. I have driven 2 Porsches in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's exciting.
Well, let's say before I went to Adelaide, I test drove Cayman as well.
Yeah, okay.
A 718 something. Okay. I don't know. They've got too confusing now because I've got the 718, the 918, the S, the non-S, the turbo.
718 is
it's too confusing.
Yeah.
Porsche make everything very hard. But in a nutshell, it was a 718, not the turbo, the V6. Before they went to the turbo 4-cylinder thingamabob.
Okay.
So I think it was like a 2014, 15. And I took that out for a drive. It had the PDK, had the upgraded like sports suspension and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Probably one of the most precise cars I've ever driven.
100%.
Okay, in terms of the actual drive of it.
Yep.
What's even better is the fact it has a front should I say?
Yep.
Front trunk and a rear trunk. It makes it real practical.
Yep.
It's actually very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The power delivery is absolutely and utterly disappointing. It was... Maybe it's just because it's not the newer turbo one.
No, I do understand.
You're sitting there and I pulled out of... You would know if I'm talking about this, but I pulled out of Eastern Road, okay? Out of one of the side streets there. Went up, put my foot down. This is in like second gear, I think, by the time I got it into manual.
Yep.
And obviously second gear is probably... it's sitting at 1,000 RPM, 1,500, right?
Yep,
so it's still building itself up.
Yep.
You're sitting there, you're waiting for a kick because you're in a freaking $100,000 Porsche, right?
Yeah.
So you're just waiting for something to happen. It never comes.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, it's very linear.
It's
very predictable.
It's boring.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it is boring.
Yeah, and then you can go all the way up to the GT3 RS and still find it fun, Probably when you modify it, you'll find it more fun because you personalize it to yourself. But yeah, eventually you'll always get that.
But the thing is, I think a 911 is just in a different class because it's just bonkers. Do you know what I mean? Like you get into
it is bonkers, mate, but it is very predictable bonkers.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you're spending that much money, you sort of expect it to do what you want it to do, very exact. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but I kind of want it to be like this is personalized to me. Where if someone else gets in it, they might hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And if I get in it, I know how to tame the beast. Like I want that kind of feeling. If you're spending that much money on a supercar, because a GT3 RS is a supercar, right? Yeah. Like an Aventador is very much like that. It gives you all aspects of what a supercar is meant to give you. You get every emotion under the sun. It has its quirks. It has its features. You get all the looks by people. GT3 RS kind of flies in under the radar because people are like, it's just a Porsche 911. We see them every now and then. It's very predictable. It is bonkers fast, but it is so easy to drive that you don't feel like you're in a crazy supercar. You don't feel like you have 500-600 horsepower
sitting under your right foot.
Yeah. And I think that's a bit boring.
Yeah, and I think that was the letdown for me. Like if someone said to me, "Hey, look, I've developed a mid-engine sports car that has a front boot, a back boot, comfortable, it has 4 settings on this, and it's very precise, 50-50 weight distribution," I'd be like, I'm sold.
Yeah.
But the minute I got in that car, and I'm not hitting the PDK. The PDK was brilliant.
I love the PDK.
But nothing happens. You're just sitting and waiting, and you're like, oh, okay, let's go. And then you shift because you're at the top of the red line.
Yep.
Nothing happens.
Yep.
Rubbish.
Well, I wouldn't say rubbish.
No, sorry, I'm not going to say rubbish. I'm going to say it is a very, very good car. If you want to go just try one, you'll understand exactly what we mean.
I'm going to
Would I buy one? No.
I'm going to put it in the way, I'm going to say it is a 10 out of 10 car. For a car.
You know what?
For a car, 10 out of 10.
I will get close. I will give it a 9 out of 10, but I think the engine is a bit of a letdown.
For an enthusiast, just for any enthusiast, a collector who likes unique things, it's probably not there. It's probably like a 7, 8 out of 10.
I think the easiest way to sum it up is if you're sort of middle-aged, right? It is, right? Because the people who are going to buy it, right, are not going to be people going to a track day every weekend. They're going to want to go do a country road on a weekend.
No, I disagree with you.
They're taking their wife away.
I disagree with you.
No, I just don't see it. How many Caymans are sitting at a track day? Like, there is
a lot.
There isn't that many.
A lot.
No, Cayman, like top end, Cayman Rs, Cayman GT4s, like all that, yes. If you're talking about a standard, Volvo standard Porsche 718, it isn't. It's what it is people who are just taking it for a weekend away with their wife.
Disagree with you. I think Porsches are more of track toys because it's a 2-seater, 2-door little thing. It's very impractical. People are buying them to be track toys and to be twisty road toys. They're not buying them to cruise every day.
No, but they're a dailyable car very easily.
They're 100% a dailyable
and do you know
car.
what's interesting?
It is just a refined Golf.
Yeah, that's what. You know what? That's actually a really good way to put it.
I do get that, but people are not buying it to be an everyday cruiser. People are buying it to be a toy.
The thing is,
it is a toy.
There is a lot of people dailying that car.
I'm sure there is. They
bought
it as a fun toy.
I think the one thing I would say...
No one goes, I've just had a family, I've just had a baby, I'm going to get a 911.
I wouldn't shut off the idea of the Cayman in my head. Because I do actually really like the idea. I like the concept around it, right?
I think the GT4 RS now that's just come out is my dream of dream cars.
I think I just want to try, not that, but just something with a bit more punch in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would be close to the perfect car.
I think if you drive a Turbo S, you'll definitely change your mind.
That's a Porsche 911 though. Like I'm talking Cayman.
Just
range.
Cayman.
Yeah.
GT4
probably a bit too hard. Like I just want the highest powered before it comes cage and everything.
GT4. Tell me, that's the only thing that will give you some sort of excitement.
I'll be honest.
That's like a long-term.
I can't get excited about a Porsche Cayman GT4.
Okay, I do. I love them.
The roofline.
I would buy one.
The roofline. I'm not joking. The roofline is like the freaking diameter of Australia. It never ends. You get to the roof bump, right? You know, to the hatch. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. You get to the roof line, the bubble, and you get to the rear boot or hatch or whatever. It keeps going, and then at the end, it's like an aircraft carrier takeoff bit. It doesn't look nice. I'm sorry.
I love it.
I know it's your dream car. I know it's your dream car.
I think it's one of the nicest cars. I love the GT4. And the GT4 RS is definitely one of my dream cars. Like I would buy it in a heartbeat if I won a lottery tomorrow. I'm not even joking. A GT4 RS is my go-to car. So my favorite car ever was a GT4, right? Yeah. And I was like, they can't make it better. They can't make it better. Like I love the GT3 RS, but I think it's a little bit too extreme for what I want. And I like the mid-engine over the rear engine. Yeah. And then the GT4 RS came out, and I was like, that's everything I've wanted and more. Everything. I love the GT4 RS. We'll
close out on that window because we're pushing on for time. But just to add, last two things that I tried. 2 weeks ago, I tried a Macan S.
Yep.
I don't know why I've been trying a lot of Porsches recently, but I had a Macan S, and just last Wednesday, tried a Macan GTS.
Okay.
Again, they're a bit... I shouldn't say that. They're a bit vag product, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, but it is an SUV, so I don't like to compare it. I wouldn't like to call it a Porsche.
No,
I like to call it a vag product.
It's definitely like you can feel it's a vag product. But the one thing I can say is, if you had 100 grand, which I don't, but if I did, and I wanted that mid-size SUV, which I'm not really a big fan of mid-size SUVs.
Yeah,
it's a solid car. The one thing I will say, that GTS, unless it is in like full-blown track sport, everything turned to the 11, right? Yeah. With your windows open and the sunroof open, so you can actually hear the engine.
Yeah,
it is a great car. If it is in any other mode, there is absolutely and utterly no point because it does not make you feel special whatsoever.
Yeah, but it does the job as an SUV.
It does the job as an SUV. So that's all I was going to sort of wrap up on. But
yeah, I sort of disagree. I think it's a great SUV. You can't go in it thinking it's a Porsche because not.
No, it's not. But when you get into GTS...
It's Porsche trying to appease a part of the market that was very lucrative.
Yeah. But all I was going to say is like when you get into GTS, right, you're not expecting it to handle like a Porsche. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get into a Macan GTS, you're expecting to have power or carbon on the dash or something, right?
Yeah, okay.
The one that I drove was decently well-spec'd. Not completely.
I think the engine-wise, it's pretty decent.
Engine was pretty impressive, but only when everything's turned up to 11.
Yeah, okay.
In every other setting, it feels like the Macan I drove the week before.
Yeah, but every other setting is I'm driving it to and back from work, or I'm driving it for grocery shopping. I think I just wanted something a little bit more to it. Like when you say performance mode, it doesn't really correlate performance mode, Like I'm not going to hit up the twisties out of my way.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But when you get in a X5 or a GLE 63, which you've been in, right?
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
You can put it in sport mode in the engine, and you can put everything else in comfort. Yeah. You can hear a rumble. You've got carbon sitting on it. You feel special,
that's
right?
True. That's true.
And that's $150,000 car.
That's true.
It's the same price car, and you get in it, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
What am I looking at? There's no zhuzh at all.
Yeah. I understand. I get what you mean. It's not.
However, very quick, very refined, but a bit...
Vag.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. It's simple.
It has a vagness to... That doesn't sound right.
Anyone that's driven a Volkswagen Audi Group product knows, I think,
exactly what we're talking about.
If you haven't, then go test drive one. It's amazing in your head. It's amazing on paper, amazing in theory, and then you drive it and you're like...
It's still good. It's still good when you drive it.
It's one part of my soul wasn't tickled that like some other cars just hit, the spot. It doesn't go all the way to that spot.
It just, you know what? That is a very, really good way of summing it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on that note, thank you very much for listening. We are back, and hopefully we will be way more consistent from now on. At least one episode per week. I'm not going to promise any more because it's not going to happen.
There will be a week where we miss.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for those who stuck around. I think most of them are going to be new listeners anyway. And in which case, welcome to the channel. It's just two guys that talk a lot about cars. And
let's just put it out there. If you want a heated debate, give us a topic because we're very good at arguing.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, he does lose. So if
that's
you want
not
to
a
see
thing.
that happen,
That's definitely not a thing.
just send us a DM at
The Automotive
the
Society.
Automotive Society _
No. Oh, yeah.
underscore Instagram.
Instagram. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was going to go for the email.
Who uses email, bro?
A lot of people do, man.
No.
Email the Automotive Society at outlook.com. Feel free to send us a photo of your car. We will definitely put it up on this screen and maybe even roast you. I don't know. Like, depends on what car it is.
Yeah.
If it's European, that side of the room will be happy. If it's Japanese, this side of the room will be happy.
Either way, you're seeing an argument happen, probably.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's very, very, very rare if we like the same thing. Even though we're very similar humans. Very rare for us to agree on a car.
Never works.
No. Anyway, this is a very long outro. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Check us out on other social media. I will hopefully have the link down in the description. And
no, you missed one more.
What did I miss?
You have to click the subscribe button and turn the bell on.
The notification.
Yeah,
bell.
whatever people say these days.
We're YouTubers now, apparently. Alex is doing it. He's doing great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See ya.